Hello everyone, it's me, that Divination witch. I hope you're doing well. Back with another witchy video. I always say that because it's true. Anyways, this video is for you guys who are wanting to work with Hecate, or maybe you are working with her and it's a bit new, early days. Well, this is what you need to hear. Let's get into it. So if you're new here, hello, I'm Sarah, I'm that Divination witch. I hope you do stick around. This channel is a safe space. I encourage people to ask questions and help each other out in the comments. No questions silly, because we all have to start somewhere. Nobody's better than anyone else here. We're all open to learning, and that's the way I like it, because no one knows everything. Like, I don't know everything. I just share what I know, and I try and just keep it down to earth, you know? If you like that, please hit subscribe. And if you want to support the channel further, I do have a link tree below. With me being that Divination witch, I offer a lot of readings. If you want to get one, check it out. I've also got Patreon and YouTube memberships where I am teaching tarot at the moment. So if you're interested, I'd be so grateful if you could check it out. Thank you. Right, I have made some notes here, but I'm never a lady who scripts things, all right? So I may go off script. But yes, what do you need to hear if you are embarking on your spiritual journey with Hecate? This could be any other god or any other spiritual path, to be honest. Some of this will be applicable no matter what. But what do you need to hear? Because let's face it, let's be honest. There's so much conflicting information out there about her. There are different paths. Some are dark, some not so dark. There are some more Wiccan based and some more left-hand path based. There are people who follow more Hellenic sort of traditions and reconstructionists. There are people who follow more, I don't know, high magic sort of things. Everyone's got their own opinion. And like anything in life, everyone's got an opinion. It doesn't mean that somebody is wholly right or that somebody is wholly wrong. We are able to take things from different places, I suppose, use our own judgment, our own discernment. Hecate herself, my experience with her anyways, she is someone who loves free will and she loves people to make up their own mind. And she has told me there is no right answer, there is no wrong answer. Within everything you hear about her, there is a grain of truth, and it's up to you to start trusting your intuition and figuring out what your truth is with her, because our paths are all individual and we're all here for different reasons, doing different things, and that's the way it is. And it's confusing. It is confusing, especially when you're first starting out, to know whether you're doing the right or wrong thing. A lot of people who are some of my Patreon members have mentioned how they've broken away from, say, mainstream religions or even just religion in general, and I suppose we're all conditioned in a way to follow a rule book, and know whether you're doing the right or wrong thing. And Hecate is just, she throws all that out the window, to be honest, because there is no right or wrong answer. But that can be hard if that is the background you come from. There's a lot of deconstruction and deconditioning that you've got to do to get past that and be self-reliant and independent. And it is hard, even for those of us who haven't had that strict of a background. I think we're all conditioned to follow rules in a certain extent. And in occult and spiritual and witchy circles, people take advantage of that as well. It's not just in Hecate's name. It could be in anyone's name. There are plenty of self-proclaimed gurus out there who take advantage of people. That's all I'm going to say. There's cult-like mentalities out there. It's a big kettle of fish. It's a wild west. So I know I've had a little ramble there, but this video is aimed to help you understand and what you need to realise. This is what Hecate herself, my gnosis of her, my personal experience with her. Take from this what you want, leave what you don't want. But this is my experience and what I feel she wants me to tell you all. So the first point, is to know that your relationship with her is personal. And I suppose I've touched on that in the fact that there's a million different paths out there and different ways of doing things, and that she herself has said there is no right answer, there's no wrong answer. You don't have to follow specific rituals, you don't have to follow certain spells. You do what your intuition tells you, because if that was the case, half the population who work with her wouldn't be having any sort of result. If you know what I mean by that. Like, if that was true, and if you had to, do a certain ritual to connect with her, well, I'm sure at least half the followers of Hecate haven't done that. And this ritual, I mean, what sort of ritual are we talking about here? Is it like Hellenic? Is it Goetic? Is it left-hand path? Is it Luciferian? Is it Wiccan even? There's all sorts of different things. So, yeah, there is no right or wrong, and your relationship is personal. And given that it's personal, it can evolve over time. That happened to me. For me, I've always called her mother. Some people don't do that. That's fine. Again, it's personal. She started out with me as, I just saw her as a witchcraft goddess, to be honest. I didn't understand her past Hellenic myth. And I really saw her as the Titaness in Hellenic myth. And that's not to say that's wrong, but over time, over the years of working with her and understanding her and being connected with her, I've realised she is much more than that. And even in the history books, she predates Hellenism. She predates that time period. She was found not just in Greece or modern day Greece. She was found across the globe. I see her now, after seeing the Chilean oracles and things like this, I understand her more as a creator goddess, as an aspect of the divine feminine. But if you asked me that 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I'm losing track of time, I wouldn't have believed you. So your relationship with her is personal, and it can also develop as time goes by. The second point she wanted me to make, I've already kind of said, but you don't need to follow any rule book or any rituals, etc., to connect with her. Now, I say this, and it's not aimed at one particular path or one particular person or anything like that, but there are many courses out there to connect with Hecate, many covens, temples, things set up in her name, which is great. If you are drawn to that, do it. If it works for you, that's again, it's personal. So if you feel resonance with that, I would never condemn anyone for that or tell you not to do that, but you don't have to do that, is what I'm saying. And like I said before, you don't have to follow specific rituals, etc. You don't have to be answerable to anybody else. The relationship, whether it's a working relationship, whether it's worship, whatever the context may be, it's between you and her. It's between you and Hecate, and that's it. You don't have to answer to any human being. So she wanted me to point that out as well. Now, that being said, she wanted me to add another point. Although you don't have to follow a specific path and rules and answer to anybody else, she does like discipline. And that can get confused, especially for people who might have been conditioned. You might come from that religious background, like I've already said. That can get lost in translation. Sometimes people think discipline is answering to somebody else, is having like a scorecard. It's like being at school, you've got to pass exams and things like this. I'm not saying that this is wrong per se, but in my personal experience and with my personal opinion of Hecate, she doesn't like hierarchy. Because she, as an essence, as a goddess, is who she is the divine feminine, and she fights for the underdog. She fights for those who have had their power taken away. She wants people to be independent and autonomous. She wants people to be free thinkers and independent thinkers. And having a hierarchical system can be good in a sense of having a structure, if that's something you may need. Of having someone who is more wise, and not that that's putting them on a pedestal, but I mean, like, they could have the knowledge sort of thing, like a teacher, a mentor, fair enough. But it's when people lord it over others. And I'm not saying, and I'm not getting at anyone with this, I'm not saying that everyone who is in a hierarchical sort of path or structure does lord it over other people, but you do get the few, hopefully it's a minority, that do that. And Hecate isn't about that. So if you ever enter into some occult order, spiritual circle, a coven, even, you get that even in just your local covens, people get power mad. Like, that's not Hecate. Remember that. If someone's ever trying to diminish your relationship with her, or diminish your abilities, and say that I'm better than you, in a subconscious sort of way, or in a roundabout sort of way, maybe not those exact words, in a more tactful way, then that is a big concerning red flag. And that happens quite a bit. And yeah, she doesn't like that at all. That is my experience of her. No, she doesn't like that. Another point she wanted me to make is that having a specific path, or joining a Hecate course or a coven, etc., they can be useful and helpful, especially sharing information with each other, even like listening to my videos or someone else's channel. It's helpful, but it's not everything. You need to do your own research as well and have your own experiences with her. Even if you are on a structured path, you need to connect with her yourself too, and not just live through someone else's words or teachings. Again, I'm not saying everyone does this. I think this is something that people need to deconstruct from themselves through organised religion and that sort of background, where, let's face it, you go to a church or whatever, and you rely on the priest or the vicar or whoever to give you the supposed word of God. It's more about that sometimes than actually your connection with God or whoever. And it's the same with Hecate, or any deity for that matter. Yeah, learn from others, of course, and hear about their experiences, but make your own mind up. It is your divine connection. It's your soul's connection with her. She wanted me to point out on the subject of organised religion that this is not the Bible, and not the commandments. Now, I don't, this is my UPG, but I don't even think Yahweh himself really gave such commandments like that. Any deity, any higher power in any religion, ancient or modern, has their likes and dislikes and likes to be respected. Of course they do. And even Hecate herself, there's certain things she likes you to do in her name over other things, but she will not demand you to do things. She will not rule over you. She's not an overlord. That is not what she's about. Like I've said, she is all about us finding our independence, our power, our strength, our autonomy. So you need to remember that she has no rules and there's no commandments sort of thing in her name. If you ever come across that in a sort of a course or a certain path or temple or coven, then you need to be thinking about that as best you can. Just bear it in mind that, was this really Hecate that gave these rules, or was it the people who coined the thing that gave the rules? And again, this is not at any particular path, this is just in general. I'm thinking of even, like I say, covens where the high priestess might get a power trip, it gets all toxic and stuff like this. I'm not saying that always happens, it doesn't always happen, but if it's something like Hecate says to do this, Hecate says to do that, ooh, no, that's not her. The coven might say to do this, the coven might say to do that. If they word it like that, that's different. But if they are masquerading that in a god or goddess's name, that's a red flag. So be wary of that. She wanted me to say that to connect with her, you don't need a lot. Regardless of whatever you're drawn to and whatever path you end up on, you don't need a lot at all to connect with her. To be quite honest, you just need to talk to her. And when I say talk to her, it could literally be talk out loud, talk in your mind, pray to her, have thoughts for her. You can write her a letter. She loves the written word and experience. You could write her poetry. You could just write to her in her name, dedication. She does like if you can light her a candle. I appreciate not everyone can do that. A candle, you can. I've recently had a question about that. Can you connect with her without a candle? Yes, you can connect with her without a candle. It's no big deal, but preferential. That's just in my experience. A candle symbolizes energy that you are giving to her. You're giving her energy, and it's a sign of respect. That's why I guess churches, etc., adopted candles. It's sort of a universal symbol of energy. You're giving energy. It's like when you light a candle in remembrance, you're giving energy to that spirit, to that memory. It's the same sort of thing. And on the subject of candles, in one of my older videos, I once mentioned, and this was my UPG, that she doesn't like white candles. Again, that's just my opinion. If you are drawn to light her a white candle, and if it lights for you, if she accepts it, then that's fine, because your relationship with her is personal. If that was all you had in the house, for example, like a white tea light, well, it's better than nothing, isn't it? I mentioned that in an older video, and perhaps the way I worded it wasn't quite right, because she won't accept, on the whole, a white candle from me. That's not her preference, with her being the dark mother, and she is one of my protectors. She likes black candles. Black does symbolize protection, but you can use white. I've known plenty of people who do. That was just my opinion, not phrased in the best of ways in that older video. If you can get her a different one, great, but again, it's your relationship with her, and if she's going to accept that from you, fine. But preferentially, in my experience, she likes black or dark candles, purple, even reds, blue. We're almost done. She had a few more points she wanted me to say, because this is basically what I wrote down in her presence. So she loves devotional things, and this doesn't have to be anything major. Devotional acts towards her. So it could be, I don't know, donating to a dog shelter, or helping out at a dog shelter, or adopting a dog. It doesn't have to be just dog related. That's just off the top of my head. She likes to help the needy, so anyone, donating to a homeless shelter, helping the homeless, helping someone in need. If you've got extra money or time or experience in something, and you can help someone who's less fortunate than you, whether they're a person or an animal, then yeah, she likes that. Even the dead, if you become experienced like that, you can help cross over the dead. I've done that in her name before. She likes devotional acts. Offerings to her aren't all about, giving her garlic and eggs at a crossroads. Yes, it's nice to honour her like that, as they did in history. But even in history, people didn't have a lot. And the food they left out, the dogs, the animals, the homeless would even eat it. The physical food, so although it was symbolic, she doesn't like waste, in my opinion and my experience. So if you can just do something in her name, could even be, for me, filming these videos, like this one, I did this for her, to help her, to get word out about her, to help you guys in her name, dedication to her. Someone else might run a blog online, or write a book in her name, or I don't know, could be literally anything. Paint a picture for her. She likes anything devotional, and and it doesn't have to cost money. She wanted me to put that out there. It doesn't have to be material things all the time. And yeah, the next point was about the material things. You don't need to buy many fancy things. That was her word. Her words, I should say. She literally said that to me, because even I've been carried away. You see all these lovely statues, you want to get the statues. There's tarot decks in her name and all sorts of beautiful things. You can get beautiful jewellery and artwork and all these nice things, handmade candles, the lot. I just want to buy it all for her, but it's, in her eyes, some is nice, but a lot, I know you do it because you love me, but it's a waste of money. So don't waste your money, especially if you haven't got money to burn. Don't waste it on frivolous things. That's the lesson she's taught me. Again, this is my opinion. If you do have spare money, she'd rather you donated it to someone who needed it, you know? That's her opinion. And the last thing she wanted me to say, and again, this was her words, is don't listen to bullshit. And she literally said bullshit. Don't listen to bullshit about her. There will always be people out there that do not like you. You could be the kindest person in the world and somebody will pick fault with you. And it may seem like, why? What on earth? But the world is made up of weird and wonderful people, different strokes for different folks, as I say. You're never going to please everyone. And that's something I've learned the hard way. Growing up with trauma, being a people pleaser, starting out on social media. No, not everyone's going to like me. And you know what? That's fine. Move along. Bye. It used to really get to me. Sometimes it still does. But she's helping me see and learn. No, you've got to move on. And for her, if you think all the bad things she is called by people who don't believe in her, there's people on YouTube that's made videos. I've even reacted to one woman once. That was just the tip of the iceberg. She's called demon, she's called dark, and even these edgy people who like the darkness. And yeah, it's fine to like the darkness. Of course it is. But if that's all you like, then you know better than the love and light is, because we need both at the end of the day. And Hecate isn't all about the dark. Yeah, she can be a dark mother. I call her that sometimes. But hey ho, she's not just the dark. She's phosphorus. She's the light. So yeah, especially when you're starting out, those sort of things scare people. It scared me. It scared a lot of people that I've spoke with over the years, even my closest friends who I've done the podcast with. It's a common theme. People will be interested in her, then they'll see all these videos and in the age of the internet, past 10 years or so, these dark things about her. You shit yourself. You think, oh my gosh, what have I gotten into? And then you chuck away her things. It's like a running joke with her. I think she just laughs at that at this point. But for her, it's like water off a duck's back. She is a divine, powerful lady. She doesn't really give a shit what people say or what they call her. The ones that do give a shit are me and you, potentially. I know that's a problem I've got sometimes, even now. I bite my tongue a hell of a lot, because I see her as like a member of the family. At this point, I do. I know everyone's different, but it's like somebody's insulting your mother. It's like someone's insulting your family. You want to go in there all guns blazing. I've done that. I've put my foot in it more than once. It's out of love. It is, with good intentions. But sometimes it's best to just let it go. So if you hear things like that, try not to take it to heart. Try and take a step back. If you need to take your time, that's fine. She will never ever pressure anyone or rush anyone. Even if it takes you years to come to terms with things, that's okay. But try to not listen to all the BS, okay? Because if she was such an evil lady, why is she known as goddess of childbirth and the light bringer and phosphorus? And why was she called on in history, in antiquity, for protection? Like, it just does not make sense. She's capable of bad. She's capable of good as well, like us all. people think of Zeus. This is an example I always give. You think of Zeus, you don't think he's like a nasty guy, really. All right, with the utmost respect, because of the mythologies, you might think in the modern day he's a womanizer. And I say that as somebody who venerates Zeus. I respect him. But he is meant to be a benevolent god. But if you were Prometheus, for example, and Prometheus gave us humans knowledge and was eternally punished for it, by having his liver pecked out by Zeus's eagle. Like, if you were Prometheus, then he would be the bad guy. He's capable of good and bad as well. He does have dark epithets to him too that are lesser known, but still are valid and exist. I just feel like, personally, in the modern age, when we've started to open up more about pagan practices and pagan deities and stuff, and when Hecate has been rediscovered, per se, I think people latched on to the witchcraft side of things, and some people have stuck just with that and just with the dark. Witchcraft isn't all bad, you know. I'll have to do a video about it, but witchcraft, I mean, that's a lot of conditioning in itself. You still hear, you know, Christian channels, even on YouTube, saying witchcraft attacks, the witches are going to get you, and all this stuff. Witchcraft is it's a craft of using the energy around us. I don't know what the name for this energy would be. I think the Chinese call it the ki or something like that. There's just this energy that's in everyone and everything that one day science will prove, but we can tap into using certain ingredients and methods. So, you know, I use certain herbs, and if you bake a cake, for example, you need certain ingredients to make the cake. So you need certain things to unlock certain properties of the energy. That's all it is. It's a pseudoscience. I say pseudoscience because it's not been proven yet, but one day it will be. So if you do a science experiment in school, even the basic one, you need the proper ingredients to do the experiment. It's the same principle. Anyways, I hope this has helped, especially some newbies. I really do. That's my intention. It's always my intention to try and help. If you made it this far, you may as well hit subscribe. I've got a whole playlist on Hecate. Go check it out. It's on my channel. And if you've got any more questions or anything you want me to cover, feel free to ask. Until next time, stay safe, stay witchy. Bye.